Hey, my name is Stephen Blum. I'm the CTO of PubNub.
And I am Craig Conover. I manage customer support.
In this FAQ video, we're talking about storage and playback, the history API.
Yes. I get lots of questions about how this thing works and how it doesn't work. So we're going to go over a few things. So first of all, what are some common use cases for using storage and playback or the history API?
Ooh, yes. So devices get offline quite frequently. The number one most important thing is to retrieve messages that you missed. Our storage and playback service allows you to get any number of messages that you need for the device that was missed while it was offline.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
You also can get chat message history, so you can page through and get different messages that have been communicated between users. That's pretty easy and straightforward. Event logging, but you can also use it for other types of things like lat-long coordinates. You can draw routes on maps, things like that.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, so when you enable storage and playback in your account, you can set the duration as well. The default is 1 day, and there are other increments up to 30 days. And if you have a global account, you can actually set it for forever storage and always get all your messages ever published. And best thing is that you don't have to think about it when you're publishing messages. Messages will be stored automatically, and there's a parameter actually say don't store this message in history with each publish. So
I'm glad you brought that one up.
Me too.
That's a special hidden tip that we didn't include in our syllabus here. It's a store equals 0, right?
Yeah, or a false,
A store false, some sort of false value.
Each API will have something that says don't store this particular message in history for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's important to store your messages forever for business and logistical legal considerations like HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley. You want to keep your data around forever and indexed in our time series.
Good point. Okay, so how are messages stored and retrieved? We get a lot of questions about some assumptions about how they're able to retrieve their data like it's a SQL database. So let's clear that up.
Ooh, yes. So with our storage and playback service, since we have so many messages that we're storing in the network, essentially we offer you the ability to index by channel, right? So channel is where messages are going in. So devices are publishing data to a channel. And then we index by a time token. We call that time token the PubNub time token, which is a timestamp to the nearest 10 nanoseconds.
Very good. So I can't just say, give me messages with this content. You can't search in the message content.
No full text indexing occurs here, so no full text searches.
You can do that on the client side if you really want to.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. All right. So once I've searched, once I've retrieved my messages, what does that payload look like? How do I parse it?
So with PubNub, we've got JSON payloads. Everything we speak is JSON. With the history response, it's an array and with 3 elements. The first element is an array within array, which is your messages. So all of your messages in a common delimited fashion. Second element of the root array is a start time token of the first message in the message payload response. And the last element of the array is last message in the message.
The last message time token.
Yeah, so it's the first message and last message sort of sandwiched in. Yeah.
So to summarize, it's an array that's size 3 long. An array of messages in element 1, the first message's time token in that array, and the last time token of the message in that array.
Precisely.
All right, great. Now, okay, so I've got these messages that I've retrieved, and I've got 2 time tokens, the first one and the last one. But what if I want the time tokens of messages 2 through n-1? I want all the time tokens of all the messages I retrieved. How do I do that? Can I do that?
Yeah, you can totally do that. Why
Excellent.
not? I mean, you should be able to.
Yeah.
And with this special parameter called include token, you just set that guy to true. And what it will do is make a change in the response payload for PubNub and give you back a time token associated with every single message in the response.
Excellent.
But I know you're going to ask me next. What is that?
Does that change the way that payload looks when I retrieve these messages? What does that look like? Is it different?
It's very different,
Awesome.
yes, because it's now a dictionary for every single message that you would expect to retrieve, with 2 elements in the dictionary. The first element is message, which is your raw message. And the second element is the time token, the one that you asked for, and that's associated with the message.
Right. So basically, you get that first element has each message with their time tokens, and then you still get the first and last time token of the messages that were returned. So you can still do some cool things that we're going to talk about later with those, that first and last time token.
Exactly.
All right. If I retrieve messages, let's say I have 1,000 messages and I say, just retrieve messages, and no parameters.
So
How many messages am I going to get back? Am I going to get all of my messages, all 1,000? Or is there a limit on this?
you might want all 1,000, but you won't get all 1,000.
What am I going to get?
So you've got channel A, your channel's A, and you've published 1,000 times into this channel. Now there's 1,000 messages in the channel. If you ask for messages with History API, you're going to get the most recent messages on that.
How many?
So, like 100.
Oh, 100.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
you'll get 100. You can only get 100 maximum.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so, but I'm going to get the most recent 100 messages, not the first 100 messages.
Right. You're
Clear.
not going to get the oldest.
How do I get those first 100 messages? What if I want the first 100, not the last 100? Can I do it?
Yes.
Beautiful.
You
How do I
can
do it?
Well, if you really want to, you can set the reverse parameter to true, and that will not change the order that messages are returned to you. It just changes where data is going to be starting to return to you. So instead of returning the most recent messages first, the last 100, it's going to go to the very beginning of time and return that slice of messages to you. So then you can page forward in time like that.
Got it. Okay. So to clarify, the messages are always returned in chronological order. So the array that you get back is always going to be oldest to newest message that is retrieved. But, okay. Excellent. Great.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, knowing that I can only get 100 at a time, can I get less than 100 messages at a time?
Yes. To limit the number of messages returned in the payload, you can specify one of two parameters. They both need the same. One is limit. Limit : 10 will allow you to receive only 10 messages in that payload versus 100, or count 10. You got to be consulting your documentation because it might be different in different languages, but our API supports both.
Right. So limit or count. Excellent. All right. With a maximum of always 100, never more.
Yeah, you can't go over 100 in the maximum of the per API call.
Good to know. Okay, so knowing that, I have a maximum number of messages that can be retrieved at any given time. I can limit that number. What about using time as a parameter? I want to get the last X minutes of time. Let's say I want to get the last 5 minutes of messages that were published, the newest 5 messages posted. So
absolutely.
How do I do this?
This one's a little trickier because it's more involved. It would be nice if we had some facilitating functions that did it for you. But you have to create your own time token, your own PubNub time token. You do that by specifying a new date, so create a new date object, and then convert that to a timestamp. So say if you want 5 minutes ago, what you're going to do is date current time minus 5 minutes, convert that to a timestamp, and then you need to convert that timestamp, that Unix timestamp, into a PubNub time token by multiplying it by 10,000.
Right.
Then you can use that as a PubNub time token to pass through the start parameter.
I don't
or
think
is it
so.
The end okay, so you got to be tricky with this one. Okay, can you help me with that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we have start and end parameter, and this is where things get a little unintuitive. So if you actually specify this 5 minutes old time token as the start parameter, you're going to get messages older than that start parameter.
What?
Okay, not completely intuitive. We understand. So if you actually specify it as the end time token, you will get the messages newer than that end time token. So that's one that I get a question, on a lot. Is like, why am I not getting the messages I expect? And it's always they're using the start parameter, not the end parameter. And I always clarify that with yes, it doesn't make sense, but it's how it works. And that's just the way it is.
We're sorry about that.
Yeah. So So always use the end parameter when you want messages from a point in time forward. Yes. All right. And of course, you can always say start to end, and you'll get the messages between start and end. The start being an older time token, end being a newer time token. You will get the message you expect there in those chunks.
Yes, and in case this confuses you, like it's confusing me a little bit, because we're saying start end, you'll just give it a shot. Try them out both, and you may want to decide to use one or the other depending on what comes back in your payload response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, one last thing. I've got 1,000 messages or more. I'm only gonna be able to get 100 messages back with one request. What if I want all of them? I wanna page through 100 at a time. Can I do that? How do I do that?
You want every message that you've ever published. Yes.
Is that ridiculous?
Yes. Oh, no, actually not.
Okay.
I do that. I do that quite frequently, and I want every message in the channel. Just do it by, you have to page essentially. So say, get me the messages, first API call, done, 100 messages. Take that first, the element number 2, in the array, right?
Right.
That comes back in the history payload response.
The time token of the first message returned.
Time token of the first message
that
returned.
first call.
Yep. And then use that as the following request in the payload. Now you either put start or end. You either put that time token start or end, and I think you put it in start.
Now you put it in start, and here's the interesting part. No matter which direction you're going in, whether you're paging from the oldest to the newest or the newest to the oldest message.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk through all the code here. It gets because it's a little confusing, again, especially when you're talking about start and end parameters and the time tokens and which part of the data. So we actually have a piece of code that we're going to give to you that you can use, and actually has the reverse parameter as well. So you can specify whether to get all messages from oldest to newest or newest to oldest. And remember, as you're assembling these messages as they're coming back, you're always going to get them in chronological order, but you may getting them in chunks, in backwards through time or forwards through time.
Yeah.
So again, this chunk of code, it's just JavaScript, so you might have to translate it to another language, but it'll allow you to
Precisely.
to do the paging that you need to do.
Yeah, Craig and I wrote that one together,
Right.
and so we made it easy for you guys. We'll paste it here in the conversation thread.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, and of course, there's probably going to be more questions because there always is. And you just support at pubnub.com, and we'll get you moving.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.